Hi Year 2, welcome to our Stand Up Speak Up activity for this afternoon. It's Monday the 8th of February and this week we are celebrating our Stand Up Speak Up week. Now, I mentioned this morning in our English lesson and you have also watched a worship from Miss Foster explaining what Stand Up Speak Up week is. But take a look at the image on the screen now. And you could maybe pause the video and have a little think to yourselves. If you're in school, it could maybe be a discussion. If you're at home, just have a little think. But look at the children in the picture. What might they be standing up and speaking out about? Think about what we've been learning about in our Victorians topic. Is there anything that you feel passionate about that you would like to stand up and speak out about as well? Pause the video and have a think. What might those children be standing up and speaking up about? Every Stand Up Speak Up week we follow a theme, and this year we are using a text by Oliver Jeffers to inspire us. Now, a little bit earlier on, you have just listened to Mrs. Ryn read this text to our whole school family, all of our community. Oliver Jeffers is a very famous author and he's created this beautiful masterpiece. Not only are the words in the story so important, but the illustrations are too. And in our first Stand Up Speak Up activity, we're going to have a little look at that. As Miss Foster said, the aim of Stand Up Speak Up Week is to encourage you to be an activist, just like Camilla and Maya in our story today. An activist is a person who would like to bring about change. And think about the examples from her assembly. She mentioned 2 children from Year 4 who have decided to do something about the things around them. One of them has decided to do some planting in the eco garden and create some bird feeders. Another child in Year 4 was using everything that they know about the oceans to inform more people about it. We're relating our Stand Up Speak Up week to the rights of the child. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is an important agreement by countries who have promised to protect children's rights. The convention explains who children are, all their rights and the responsibilities of governments. All the rights are connected and they are all equally important and they cannot be taken away from the children. We are a rights respecting school and we have our silver award and we are going for gold. Each class in our school has its own class charter that relates to these rights. Think about what ours looks like in our classrooms. Now, there are some examples on the screen. We have the right to be protected, to be educated, to be healthy, to be treated fairly, and to be heard too. Those are some of the rights that we have as children, some examples of them. Another aspect of Stand Up Speak Up Week is our global goals, and these are a set of goals that were adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet and to ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. And we talk about our sustainable goals in school and we talk about the things that we can do in order to make our world a better place. Now, our focus for Stand Up Speak Up Week is equality and diversity within the community. And this means looking at the fact that we are all equal. No matter what we look like or what our differences are, we are equal human beings. And we're also thinking about diversity. How it's great that we all look different and sound different and we all like different things. The fact that our community is diverse actually makes it a better place to be. And when Miss Foster told me that this was what we were going to be looking at down in Year 2, I was so excited. We are looking at Article 28 from the Rights of the Child, and that's every child has the right to an education, because we do, albeit a little bit strange at the moment. Some of you are at home and some of you are in school, but we all have the right to be educated. I can think of someone from our Victorian topic who wasn't being educated. In the Victorian times, the children didn't have the rights like you guys have now. You are very lucky. We are also looking at Global Goal 5, gender equality. We're looking at how it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, a boy or a girl, we are the same, we are equal and should be treated equally. So that's our focus for this week. We're looking at how our community is different, and that's great. We are thinking about Article 28, how we all have the right to an education, and Global Goal 5, that if we're a boy or a girl, we are still equal. Now, here's a page from the story, and actually it's one of my favourite pages. Take a look at the images on the screen now. And this is the page that we're going to look at. I'm going to show you a bigger version of this picture in a moment. And it says, people come in many shapes, sizes and colours. We may all look different, act different and sound different, but don't be fooled, we are all people. And that is so true. We may all look different, we may all act differently and sound differently, but we are all people, we are all one together. Okay. Let's put up what we are focusing on. Our Article 28 and our Global Goal 5, gender equality. But don't be fooled, we are all people. This is the quote that we're going to be looking at in greater detail in a moment. Here's the picture that I was talking about in a bit more detail. People come in many shapes, sizes and colours. We may all look different and sound different and act different, but don't be fooled, we are all people. Look at the illustration now. Do any of the people interest you? I think this character up here is quite interesting because they're a beekeeper. I really like bumblebees, and it always interests me to think about what their job entails. Do any of them remind you of people in your own lives? I think this lady here reminds me a little bit of me because she actually looks like she's rushing around, and I always feel like I'm rushing around trying to complete something. So she reminds me of me. This character here reminds me a little bit of my big brother, and I can see that he's carrying a little baby on his back. Now my nephew, I have two nephews, but one of my nephews is 4, and when he was a little baby, my brother used to carry him around on his back, just like that. Now, do you think that any of these people have things in common? Because I do. I can see that this little girl here is a ballerina, and I can see that this person here is completing some kind of activity. It looks a bit like fencing. They are both sporty people. They both enjoy sports. On this page, some are children and some are adults. I want you to pause the video here, and I want you to pick someone on the screen that you have something in common with. For example, you might like riding a bike, and this little girl is on a bike. You might like to swim, and this man here is a swimmer. I want you to pause the video and find someone that you think you have something in common with. And I want you to say why. Why do you have something in common with that person? Maybe you enjoy playing tennis. Maybe you like space, like this astronaut here. Maybe you like to play tricks on people. Maybe you have some similar characteristics to this person. I want you to pause the video and find someone that you think you have something in common with. As you are looking through the picture, I hope that you are able to find someone who you think you might have something in common with. If you didn't manage to do that, then maybe you could go back to the picture and think, do any of them remind you of any of your relatives? Do any of those characters on the screen remind you of anybody that you know in your life? Isn't it great how all of those people are different, but we were able to say something that we had in common with one of them? Even if it was something as simple as you like to play tennis in the summertime and there was a person holding a tennis racket, or, someone was dressed up as a cowboy or cowgirl. Maybe you like dressing up and pretending to be someone else. Isn't it great how we can still find something that we might have in common with someone, even though we don't look like that person? I know quite a lot of my class at the moment are learning how to play instruments, and I know that they don't look like this man who's purple. That's something that they have in common with this person, that they're learning to play an instrument. They don't look like that person, but they have something in common. As we know, we're thinking about our community and how it's great that we're all different, but we might have something to share in common. Actually, something that we do have in common is our community. We might all look different, sound different and act different, but we share our community, our school community, or the area that you live. That's your community too. And don't be fooled, we are all people, we are all still the same, despite not looking the same. And actually, one of my favourite things about our world is how we don't all look the same, and we don't all sound the same, and we don't all like the same things, but that we're all people and we're all pretty great. That was the illustration that we were looking at from the story. What I love is how Oliver Jeffers has drawn each of those people. And something else that I love is that they all have something that makes them special. There's someone up here playing the bagpipes, the beekeeper with the bees, the man playing the piano, the clown on the unicycle. They all have something in their illustration that makes them unique. They all have something in their illustration that makes them special and stand out. Your main activity for today's lesson is I want you to think about all the people in your community. And I want you to think about who they are. Those people are the people in your house that you live with, your parents, your carers, your grandparents, your siblings. But your community stretches a bit wider than that. Your school and your school family. The people that you see all the time, maybe the postman, Reverend Allen. And what I want you to do is just like Oliver Jeffers did. I want you to draw me a picture of your community. I want you to draw me little illustrations of all of those people who are important to you. And when you draw them, I want you to add a little something to their character. So if you were drawing me or Miss Thompson as your teacher, you might draw us with a whiteboard. If you're drawing Reverend Allen as a member of your community, you might draw him in front of the church or holding a cross. If you're drawing your siblings, you might draw them in their favourite outfit. Do they like sports? You might draw them with their football or tennis racket. Are you part of a club? Do you do dance or gymnastics or play football in normal time? Those people who help you with those clubs are part of your community too. And hopefully, when you've drawn your community, you will notice how they are all different, but that they're all still so important. Even though there'll be a variety of people on your page, they are all equal and they're all diverse. They're all pretty brilliant. I hope you enjoy this little activity. It shouldn't take you too long, but I would really, really love to see your pictures of them, because if we were in the classroom, I would have asked you to do this on little small pieces of paper so that we could build one big community. Actually, I think this idea is better. You're going to have your whole community on one page. We cannot wait to see them. And for the rest of this week, we'll be thinking about equality and diversity within our community. And this is a really good place to start. Enjoy, boys and girls. I cannot wait to see what you come up with.